So today for supper, I am going to be cooking a stir fry. It is going to be pork and veggies. So we're going to start off with the pork here. We're going to let that cook and brown a little bit. I like to put a little bit, you can see the amount here, of pork stew meat, any kind of pork meat, cut it up into little bite-sized pieces. Sometimes I get it already pre-seasoned. This time I happen to not have it pre-seasoned, so I'm going to be seasoning it up with these select seasonings I picked for today. Some smoked paprika, a little bit of ground ginger, some crushed red pepper, give it a little bit of spice, and some brown sugar bourbon. I'm going to toss that in there just to give it a little kick. Now typically I don't measure my seasonings. I'm Cajun from Louisiana, so we don't always do that kind of thing, but I am gonna go ahead and just season it up real quick for you here. I'm just gonna get it all covered. That's pretty much what I like to do. For the ginger, not so much. Paprika you can be a little generous for, but ginger, I'm just gonna kind of lightly tap there like that. Oh. Now for the red pepper, I don't want to overdo it. I can always add more, but you can't really take it away. So I'm gonna kind of just let a few flakes fall in there. That should be okay for now. If we need to add, we'll taste test and maybe add some more. Brown sugar bourbon, same thing. I do not want to overdo it because you can add, but you can't take it away. So I'll just kind of let a little bit of the seasoning fall in that plate. Okay, then I'll just kind of mix it up, get it all coated. Okay, it should be good there. Now, typically I'm also not concerned about letting this sit for a long time to let the seasoning set in. Sometimes that matters, but for this, it'll be fine. I'm not too concerned about that. Next step is I went ahead and I put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil into my pan here. I'm gonna let that heat up. Once it's hot enough and it kind of starts bubbling a little bit, then I'll toss that meat in there and let it start cooking. Okay, so I kind of spread this around. It looks like my grease is just about ready. So I am gonna go ahead and put this pork in here. It's gonna slowly start to kind of fry there a little bit. Kind of spread it out. Okay. We'll keep checking it, keep moving it around there. It'll probably take about 5 to 10 minutes before it'll be ready for me to start adding some veggies in here. So I am kind of turning these over. You can see they're browning really pretty. It's only been a couple minutes, so I'm gonna let them keep sitting. It's on about medium to high heat right now. I may turn it down just to make sure it doesn't burn or stick too bad, but it is doing super pretty. Let that cook a little bit more. And while that's going, I'm going to show you the veggies that I'll be adding. So here I have some baby carrots, and basically I just kind of took a handful of these baby carrots here, chopped them up with some scissors, and that's what you have here, these little bitty baby pieces. They cook fast, they'll cut up like that. These slices here are some fresh sweet banana bell peppers that were cut up and they were just frozen. So I cut them up to freeze them. It was just easier that way. A different color variety, red, green, orange. It makes it pretty and it tastes really good in there. Then I also have a little bit of yellow squash that I had cut up. This is fresh yellow squash. So there's some little bite-sized pieces in there that they're still frozen. I'll toss it in there frozen. And then I have some homemade zoodles, some zucchini noodles that it's about 2 cups I measured in this bag. It's also frozen, and I'll toss it in there frozen. But first, before I add all that, I have this big pretty red onion that I'm going to cut. I'll probably put, it's so big, I'll probably only use about half of it. And I will get that cut up, and I will add that next. And here's that juicy onion cut in half and the peelings off. So I'm going to use this half, and I will get this added. I will julienne it and just add it to our meat here. Our meat is still doing beautiful. I did turn it down a little bit, so it's not sizzling as bad, but it's also not burning. It's cooking, getting more and more tender. Once I add that onion in there, it'll give it a little bit more juice. And here we have the onion. Add it in, cut up. I will let that kind of saute, you can say, just a little bit, a few minutes. Get it all covered in that browning goodness. I'll do this just for a couple of minutes, and then the next thing I want to add is the carrots. Because even though I cut them up into small pieces, they're still going to take a little bit longer to break down and cook and get that soft, tender juiciness that we want in the stir fry. But while I'm doing this, I will also add a little bit of this soy sauce here, just to give it a little bit of liquid. Okay. And again, I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of putting it in there. It might sizzle a little bit more, or maybe not. I just kind of want to make sure nothing burns. Oh, and nothing flies out the pot. Let's get that. It's going to be very hot, so there we go. Okay, and then the sizzling slowed down a little bit. So I think I'm going to kick it up just a little bit. Get it cooking a little bit again. And I see I had an onion astray here, so I'll just kind of toss that back in there. We have everything covered in soy sauce. We have a good sizzle happening, not too hard, but not too low temperature. So I am gonna go ahead and get the carrots added next. So I'll just kind of drop that in there. And we'll stir that in with the juices. I apologize if it's a little shaky. I'm holding my camera with one hand and stirring with the other, so please bear with me. This smells amazing, by the way. Okay, now we have a good little saute going, but I don't want this to be just grilled. I want this to maintain a stir fry consistency, and now it's just about time for me to start adding some other veggies. So what I'm gonna do is I cut up these banana peppers into little strips, as you can see. Probably won't add these next. I think I'm gonna add the squash next. so I took it out of the bag and I am going to place it. We have this big old chunk all stuck together, frozen. I'll just toss that in there. It's gonna break apart all on its own as it gets warm. Once that breaks apart, then I'll go ahead and I will put in the banana peppers. That's going to be really good. And just so you guys know, you can use any veggies in a stir fry. A lot of times I'll use cauliflower and broccoli. Sometimes I'll buy the stir fry veggie mix frozen in the bag. It's just I happen to have what I have, and that's what I decided to go with. I had the banana peppers, the squash, and the zoodles. And some people choose chicken instead of pork, some beef. I find my taste buds like pork better, but everyone's taste buds are different. There's also different varieties of soy sauce. You saw the one that I used here, which I'm actually going to put a little bit more because it's starting to kind of lose a little liquid. Yeah, mix that up there. Yeah, so the one I used here, it's a light soy sauce. You can see that here, made by Freshly, but you can use any kind of soy sauce at all. And I'm also going to add a little bit of this here. It's an orange flavor stir fry sauce. I'm gonna give it a shot. I've never used it before. I just opened it up today. But it did smell good when I opened it, so I'm gonna add a little bit to that, give it some flavoring, orange flavoring too. Stir fry, you can make it your own. You can, like I said, use any veggies you want, any sauce you want. Just add your own unique touch to it. This is just what I decided to do today. Give this a few more minutes to let that yellow squash defrosting cook down. All right, guys, now we have our squash all broken down. Now I will go ahead and just toss in those banana peppers. Okay, and then while I'm at it, I'm just gonna put this stack of frozen zoodles in here as well. Let that all cook. Okay, and we still have our zoodles cooking down, so I still have it on medium-high heat. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a lid on it. That way it kind of retains the heat for a little bit, maybe just for like 1 or 2 minutes, just to let that steam and moisture defrost the frozen zoodles, and then it'll break apart better. Okay, so I just took the lid off and you can see how the zoodles are coming apart very nicely. So I'll just kind of spread that out. Sometimes I use regular spaghetti noodles. You can even boil a pack of ramen noodles and hold the seasoning packet that comes with it, unless you really want that seasoning. But typically I'll just toss it. But yeah, any kind of noodles will do, or if you don't want noodles at all, that's fine too. I've done that plenty of times as well. So I'm just gonna kind of keep stirring this and get this all tossed together. I think we have a good mix now. And I'm actually gonna turn up the heat and let it cook a little harder. And then we'll get our final touches of sauces and seasonings that we need. And it'll be done. We'll be ready to eat. Okay, so now we have something going on here. I got all the zoodles spread out. I got it stirred really well. The heat is cooking down that excess water from the frozen veggies. Now what I want to do is I want to take this that I was showing you earlier. I'm going to put a little bit in here. Again, I'm not measuring. I'm just going to kind of pour. So let's see. I don't want to overdo it, but I think that will give it a good flavor right here. Just kind of stir that in there and let it cook a little bit. Just for a minute or so. And our heat seems to be kind of picking up a little bit too much, so I'm going to kind of put this back down. I know it's a lot of back and forth with the heating, but I'm just going to put it down a little bit again. And I'm actually going to give this a taste test and see if I need to add anything. And in my taste test, the verdict is I actually don't taste much of the soy flavor. So I'm actually going to take a little bit more of this and add more. I also really didn't taste much of the spice that I wanted. So I'm also gonna add a spice here as well. The spice of choice is going to be this chili garlic sauce. This is one of my favorite things to add when I need a little spice added to a soy sauce. So I'm just gonna add really just maybe a little half a spoonful, about like that, and I'll just mix that in there and stir it up. And now that I added this orange soy sauce and a little bit of spice, I'm actually good with it. It tastes perfect. I taste the orange. Again, this was the first time I used this. I do taste that hint of orange flavor, but it's not too overpowering because I really didn't use that much. You can see I used about this much worth, which I guess is maybe about a quarter cup worth. And then the chili soy sauce, I added just a half of little teaspoonful, and the other seasonings, which again was the little bit of brown sugar bourbon on the meat, the crushed red pepper, smoked paprika, and some ground ginger. And thanks for watching, but this is a success. I'm actually going to turn this off. I am going to put a lid on it. I will take it off of the heat burner. That way it doesn't keep cooking. It just kind of holds itself. And it is ready to be served and eaten. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe for more videos like these. Bye.